Okay, so get this. What if holding a crypto token gave you real, actual power over a publicly traded company? I know, it sounds pretty wild, but that's not some far off hypothetical. It's a fascinating new proposal aimed squarely at Coinbase and its hugely successful Base network. Let's break down how this could literally change the game.
No, seriously. Just think about that for a second. We're not talking about another token you just speculate on. And we're not talking about voting on some minor technical tweak. We're talking about a token that gives you a real voice, real influence over one of the biggest public companies in the entire crypto space. That's the radical idea we're diving into today.
All right, so let's set the stage here. Coinbase launched Base, which is a layer 2 network, one of those systems built on top of Ethereum to make everything faster and way, way cheaper. And it has been an absolute runaway success. So, of course, the entire industry is basically holding its breath, waiting for a native Base token to drop. The stakes here are enormous. And when I say success, I really mean it. Base is already blown past $5 billion in total value locked. Now, what that means is that it's one of the most active and valuable Layer 2 ecosystems on the planet right now. The value a token could unlock here is just massive. Some people are estimating it could be worth over $30 billion.
But here's where it gets really interesting. The folks behind this idea are arguing that if Coinbase just launches another standard run-of-the-mill token, for some rewards and some flimsy governance votes, it would be a colossal wasted opportunity. They think Base can do something so much bigger.
And that gets us to a huge problem in crypto, something the source material calls governance theater. I love that phrase. It's this idea that most so-called governance tokens only give you the illusion of control. It's like you're in a play, you feel important, but in reality, the token holders almost never have a say in the big decisions that actually matter. This quote from the proposal just cuts right to the heart of it. It describes this dual-class system. On one side, you've got the equity investors, and they capture all the upside when big deals happen. But on the other side, you've got the token holders, the actual users building the network's value, and they're the ones left holding all the risk. It's just fundamentally broken. And this just lays it all out, right? You see that broken system so clearly. When the development teams behind these projects get acquired, like with Interop Labs or Vertex Protocol, it's the equity investors who get to cash out big time. And the token holders, the community that made the network valuable in the first place, they usually get zip, nothing. It's a massive conflict of interest.
So what's the fix? Well, this is where the proposal goes from interesting to absolutely wild. The core idea is to completely smash this broken model by directly connecting the Base token to actual corporate power at the mothership, Coinbase itself.
Okay, here's the 4-step plan they've laid out. First, you set up a proper legal foundation and a DAO. Simple enough. Step 2, that DAO goes out and raises a massive war chest. We're talking around $35 billion. Then, for step 3, it uses all that cash to buy up Coinbase stock on the open market with the goal of acquiring up to half of the company. And finally, the masterstroke. Step 4, all of the shareholder rights from that stock get handed over to the Base token holders who exercise that power through the DAO.
Now, it's super important to understand what this isn't. You might hear this and think, oh, it's just tokenized stock. We've heard that buzzword for years. But no, that's not it at all. The authors argue this would create an entirely new kind of asset. So let's really break down this difference because it's the key to the whole innovation. With typical tokenized equity, the company itself takes its shares and puts a representation of them on the blockchain. But in this model, it's totally different. A decentralized organization, the DAO, goes out and buys the stock independently. And then it doesn't put the stock on chain. It puts the power that comes with the stock on chain for everyone to use. I love this quote because it just makes the concept crystal clear. It's not about tokenizing the asset itself. It's about tokenizing the influence you get from owning the asset. It seems like a small difference in words, but it's a profound, game-changing shift. So let's just play this out. If something like this were to actually happen, what would the ripple effects be? The implications for Coinbase, for the millions of people using Base, and honestly for the entire crypto world, would be absolutely enormous. What's really fascinating is that the proposal frames this not as a threat to Coinbase, but as an incredible strategic move. I mean, think about it. The DAO would become this massive, stable, anchor shareholder that is perfectly aligned with the company's long-term vision. And at the same time, by decentralizing its ownership to its global users, Coinbase could get a huge regulatory win. It becomes much harder to argue that the network is centrally controlled when its community literally owns a huge chunk of the company.
And that right there is the key takeaway. This is not about Base trying to break away from Coinbase. It's the opposite. It's about taking that incredibly powerful, symbiotic relationship they already have and distributing the control, distributing the ownership over that connection to the very people who make the network valuable. So this leaves us with a massive question. Is this a real glimpse into the future of how companies are run? A future where users and owners are finally the same? Or is it just a radical idea that's, a bridge too far for the world we live in today? It's a powerful concept to think about. Thanks for digging into this with us.